Cowboy went riding out one dark and windy day. Upon a ridge he rested as he went along his way. All at once a mighty herd of red-eyed cows he saw, plowing through the ragged skies and up the cloudy draw. Their brands were still on fire and their hoofs was made of steel. Horns was black and shiny and their hot breath he could feel. A bolt of fear went through him as he thundered through the sky, where he saw the riders coming hard and he heard their mournful cry. Yippee-yi-yo, yippee-yi-yay, ghost riders in the sky. Their faces gaunt, their eyes is blurred, their shirts all soaked with sweat. They're riding hard to catch that herd, but they ain't caught him yet. 'Cause they got to ride forever on that range up in the sky, and horses snorting fire as they ride on, hear their cry. Yippee-yi-yo, yippee-yi-yay, ghost riders in the sky. As the riders roped on by him, he heard one call his name. If you want to save your soul from hell, riding on our range, then cowboy, change your ways today. With us you will ride, trying to catch the devil's herd across these endless skies. Yippee-yi-ho, yippee-yi-yay, ghost riders in the sky, ghost riders in the sky. I am a reckless highwayman, Cole Younger is my name. Deeds of desperation brought my friends to shame. The robbing of the Northfield Bank never can deny, for which I am a prisoner in the Stillwater jail I lie. Of all my bold robberies, a story I will tell, of a California miner, upon him I fell. Robbed him of his money, boys, made my getaway, for which I will be sorry of until my dying day. It's now we got fast horses, my brother Bob did say. It's now we got fast horses, make our getaway. We'll rob to seek our father's revenge, we will win the prize. We'll fight them anti-guerrilla boys until the day we die. We started off for Texas, that good old Lone Star State. On Nebraska's burning prairie, the James boys we did meet. With guns and knives, revolvers, we all sat down to play, planning of our worthless deeds to pass the time away. Then we saddled up our horses and northward we did go, to that forsaken country called Minnesota. We went to rob the Northville Bank, and Brother Bob did say, if we undertake that job, boys, you'll surely rue the day. So we stationed out our pickets and into town did go. It was there upon the counter, boys, we struck our fatal blow. Just hand us out your money and act without delay, for we are notorious youngers and we have no time to play. Then we got back on our horses and we rode out of town. But the lawmen pursued us and Jim was shot down. 3 of our brave companions made it home alive. 3 of our brave companions sleep beneath Minnesota skies. All day I faced the barren waste without a taste of water. Cool water. Old Dan and I, with throats burned dry and souls that cry for water. Cool, clear water. The nights are cool and I'm a fool, each star's a pool of water. Cool water. With the dawn I'll wake and yawn and carry on to water. Cool, clear water. Keep a moving, Dan, don't you listen to him, Dan. He's a devil, not a man, and he spreads the burning sands with water. Dan, can you see that big green tree where the water's running free? Is waiting there for you and me. Water, cool, clear water. Shadows sway and they seem to say, tonight we pray for water. Cool water. Way up there he'll hear our prayer and show us where there's water. Cool, clear water. Keep a moving, Dan, don't you listen to him, Dan. He's a devil, not a man, and he spreads the burning sands with water. Dan, can you see that big green tree where the water's running free and it's waiting there for you and me? Water, cool, clear water. Dan's feet are sore and he's yearning for just one more thing than water. Cool water. Like me, I guess he'd like to rest where there's no quest for water. Cool, clear water. Cool, clear water. I was born under a wandering star. I was born under a wandering star. Wheels are made for rolling, mules are made to pack. I never seen a sight that didn't look better looking back. I was born under a wandering star. Mud can make you prisoner and the plains can bake you dry. Snow can burn your eyes, but only people make you cry. Home is where you're coming from and dreams are going to, which with any luck will never come true. I was born under a wandering star. I was born under a wandering star. Do you know where hell is? Hell is in hello. Heaven is goodbye forever. It's time for me to go. I was born under a wandering star. I was born under a wandering star. When I get to heaven, tie me to a tree, or I'll begin to roam, and soon you know where I will be. I was born under a wandering star. A wandering star. Winter is gone and the leaves are green. Winter is gone, the leaves are green. Your innocent face, wish I never had seen. Come on, my love, honey, fare me well. Come on, my love, honey, fare thee well. You know you done me wrong, but I wish you well. The rope is bought and the bow is strung. The rope is bought, the bow is strung. An innocent man is gonna be hung. Come on, my love, honey, see me die. On my love, honey, see me die. Come on and see me dancing, dancing across the sky, out on the gallows high. Come on and see me fly. Winter is gone and the leaves are green. Winter is gone and the leaves are green. Your innocent face, wish I never had seen. I'm weary and tired, I've done my day's riding. Nighttime is rolling my way. The sky's all on fire, and the light slowly fading. Peaceful and still ends the day. Out on the trail, the night birds are calling, singing their wild melody. Down in the canyon, the cottonwood whispers a song of Wyoming for me. I've wandered around the town and the city, try to figure the how and the why. I've stopped all my scheming, I'm just drifting and dreaming, watching that river roll by. Here comes that big old prairie moon rising, shining down bright as can be. Up on that hill, the coyote is singing the song of Wyoming for me. Now it's jerky and tobacco and bitter black coffee. A lonesome old doggy am I. But waking up on the range, I feel like an angel. I feel like I almost could fly. Drift like a cloud out over the badland. Sing like a bird in a tree. The wind in the sage sounds like heaven singing a song of Wyoming for me. A song of Wyoming for me. One day while I pondered the things I had done, the wondrous illusion of grandeur did come. The mountains and rivers with the water so clear, and the cities and all of their sins disappear. I envisioned a place that no eyes had ever seen. All above me was blue, all below me was green, unfettered when running through the clear crystal snow. And although it was freezing, I didn't feel cold. I no longer live in the darkness of stone. I ride through the air on my strawberry roan. My days have been numbered with figures of gold. My thoughts were of family and fortunes untold. The gold turned to ashes and scattered at will. But the family remained, and I love them all still. I no longer live in the darkness of stone. I ride through the air on my strawberry roan. I no longer live in the darkness of stone. I ride through the air on my strawberry roan. 'Twas in the town of Jacksboro, early '63. A man by the name of Kriego come stepping up to me, saying, "Howdy, you young feller, and how'd you like to go spend your summers pleasant in the plains of the buffalo?" Well, it's me being out of work right then, the Kriegel I did say. Going out on the Buffalo Road depends upon your pay. If you pay good wages, transportation to and fro, most likely, sir, I'll go with you to the plains of the buffalo. Yes, I pay good wages and transportation too. If you'll agree to work for me until the season's through. But if you get dissatisfied, head back for your home. Most likely you will starve to death on the plains of the buffalo. Now with all his flattering talking, he'd signed up quite a trade, with Navy 6 and needle guns, 7 able-bodied men. Our way it was a pleasant one, we hit the western road on across old Boggy Creek into old Mexico. It's there our pleasures ended and our troubles all began. The hardships of that settlement would break the strongest man. While skinning a herd of buffalo, our lives that were so low, while outlaws waited to pick us off in the hills of Mexico. Where the working season ended, old Kriegel he did say, "You boys have drunk too much, I don't owe you no more pay." Well, the cowboys never had heard such a thieving bank rob law, so we left that drover's bones to bleach on the plains of the buffalo. Many a month has come and gone since I've wandered from my home in those Oklahoma hills where I was born. Many a page of my life has turned, many lessons I have learned, and I feel like in those hills where I belong. Way down yonder in the Indian Nation, riding my pony on the reservation in them Oklahoma hills where I was born. Way down yonder in the Indian Nation, a cowboy's life is my occupation in them Oklahoma hills where I was born. But as I sit here today, many miles I am away from the place I rode my pony through the draw, where the oak and blackjack trees kiss the playful prairie breeze, and I feel back in those hills where I belong. Way down yonder in the Indian Nation, I'm riding my pony on the reservation in them Oklahoma hills where I was born. Way down yonder in the Indian Nation, the cowboy's life is my occupation in them Oklahoma hills where I was born. Now as I turn a life a page to the land of the great Osage, in them Oklahoma hills where I was born, where the black oil rolls and flows and the snow-white cotton grows, and I feel like in those hills where I belong. Way down yonder in the Indian Nation, riding my pony on the reservation in them Oklahoma hills where I was born. Way down yonder in the Indian Nation, the cowboy's life is my occupation in them Oklahoma hills where I was born. Way down yonder in the Indian Nation, riding my pony on the reservation in them Oklahoma hills where I was born. Way down yonder in the Indian Nation, the cowboy's life is my occupation in them Oklahoma hills where I was born. In them Oklahoma hills where I was born. Long about roundup time, Texas way out west. Lost a friend and a pal, boys, laid him down to rest. I wept and moaned o'er his grave, to me, boys, it was sad. 'Cause I knew down beneath that mound lay the best pal I ever had. Oodalay, oodalay, oodalay. My best pal's my old paint horse, now he's gone to rest. Laid him down beneath that mound in Texas way out west, where the cactus blooms over his grave, coyotes do cry. I know he sleeps in perfect peace beneath that Texas sky. Oodalay, oodalay, oodalay. Dear old pal, it breaks my heart to leave you here alone. Now I go and ride the range on that Texas roan. But my love for you, old pal, it shall linger on. I will always think of you, although you're dead and gone. Oodalay, oodalay, oodalay. The sun is sinking in the west. The cattle go down to the stream. The redwing settles in the nest, and it's time for the cowboy to dream. Purple light in the canyon, that's where I long to be, with my three good companions, just my rifle, my pony, and me. Gonna hang my sombrero on a limb of a tree. Coming home, sweetheart darling, just my rifle, my pony, and me. Just my rifle, my pony, and me. Whippoorwill in the willow sings a sweet melody, riding to Amarillo. Just my rifle, my pony, and me. Just my rifle, my pony, and me. No more cows to be roping, no more strays will I see round the bend. She'll be waiting, my rifle, my pony, and me. For my rifle, my pony, beside me. Lonesome but I'm happy, rich but I'm broke, and the good Lord knows the reason that I'm just a cowpoke. From Cheyenne to Douglas, all the ranges I know, 'cause I drift with the wind and no one cares where I go. I ain't got a dime in these old worn out jeans, so I'll stop eating steak and go back to beans. I'll pick up a 10-spot Prescott I know, riding the broncs in the big rodeo. Some evening in springtime, a filly I'll find, and I might spend all summer with her on my mind. But I'll never be branded, and never be broke. I'm a carefree, riding, drifting cowpoke. Yippee-yay, there'll be no wedding bells for today. I've got spurs that jingle, jangle, jingle, as I go riding merrily along. And they sing, oh, ain't you glad you're single? And that song ain't so very far from wrong. Lily Bell, oh, Lily Bell, though I may have done some fooling, this is why I never fell. I've got spurs that jingle, jangle, jingle, as I go riding merrily along. And they sing, oh, ain't you glad you're single? And that song ain't so very far from wrong. Oh, Sally Jane, oh, Sally Jane, though I'd love to stay forever, this is why I can't remain. I've got spurs that jingle, jangle, jingle, as I go riding merrily along. And they sing, oh, ain't you glad you're single? And that song ain't so very far from wrong. Oh, Marianne, oh, Marianne, though we've done some moonlight walking, this is why I up and ran. I got spurs that jingle, jangle, jingle, as I go riding merrily along. And they sing, oh, ain't you glad you're single? And that song ain't so very far from wrong. Oh, Betsy Lou, oh, Betsy Lou, though we've done a heap of dreaming, this is why it can't come true. I got spurs that jingle, jangle, jingle, as I go riding merrily along. And they sing, oh, ain't you glad you're single? And that song ain't so very far from wrong. Yippee-yay, There'll be no wedding bells for today. Oh, the years creep slowly by, Lorena. The snow is on the ground again. The sun's low down the sky, Lorena. The frost gleams where the flowers have been. But the heart beats on as warmly now as when the summer days were nigh. Oh, the sun can never dip so low to be down in affection's cloudless sky. 100 months have passed, Lorena, since last I held thy hand in mine and felt the pulse beat fast, Lorena, though mine beat faster far than thine. 100 months 'twas flowery May, when up that hilly slope we climbed to watch the dying of the day and hear the distant church bells chime. We loved each other then, Lorena, far more than ever dared we tell. And what might have been, Lorena, had but our loving prospered well. Then 'tis past, the years roll on, I'll not call up their shadowy form. I'll say to them lost years, sleep on, nor heed life's pelting storm. All my life I've been riding in the roundup, punching cattle's been my line till today. But the roundup is over and from now on I'm on my way. I'm just drifting down the trail to the sunset, I'm just following the sun and the rain. All I know is the haunting, taunting melody of the plain. That's a song that keeps singing, that's a tune that keeps bringing me the courage to travel along. Through the sagebrush I'm riding, by the clouds I'm a-guiding. All I need is the plains and my song. All my pals are heading west to the Rockies, but to me the plains are calling to stay. All I know is the haunting, talking melody of the plains. That's a song that keeps singing, that's a tune that keeps bringing me the courage to travel along. Through the sagebrush I'm riding, by the clouds I'm a-guiding. All I need is the plains and my song. And my pals are heading west to the Rockies, but to me the plains are calling to stay. All I need is the haunting, taunting melody of the plains. All I know is the haunting, taunting melody of the plains. As a young man I went riding out on a western plain. In the state of North Dakota, I met my Nellie Kane. I met my Nellie Kane. She was living in a lonely cabin with a son by another man. 5 years she waited for him, long as a woman can. Long as a woman can. I don't know what changed my mind, till that I was a rambling kind. The kind of love I can't explain that I had for Nellie Kane. She hired me on to work that day to help her till the land. In the afternoon we planted seeds, in the evening we held hands. In the evening we held hands. Her blue eyes told me everything a man could want to know. Then that I realized I would never go. I would never go. I don't know what changed my mind, till then I was a rambling kind. Kind of love I can't explain that I had for Nellie Kane. Now many years have gone by and her son grown up tall. I became a father to him and she became my all. She became my all. I don't know what changed my mind, till then I was a rambling kind. Kind of love I can't explain that I had for Nellie Kane. That I had for Nellie Kane. Paladin, Paladin, where do you roam? Paladin, Paladin, far, far from home. Have gone, will travel, reads the card of the man. A knight without armor in a savage land. His fast gun for hire heeds the calling wind of a soldier of fortune, a man called Paladin. Paladin, Paladin, where do you roam? Paladin, Paladin, far, far from home. He travels on to wherever he must. A chest knight of silver is his badge of trust. There are campfire legends the plainsmen spin of a man with a gun, of a man called Paladin. Paladin, Paladin, where do you roam? Paladin, Paladin, far, far from home. Far, far from home. Far, far from home. bury me not on the lone prairie. These words came low and mournfully from the pallid lips of the youth who lay on his dying bed at the close of day. He had wasted and pined till o'er his brow death's shades were slowly gathering now. He thought of home and loved ones nigh as the cowboys gathered to see him die. Oh, bury me not on the lone prairie where the coyotes howl and the winds blow free, in a narrow grave just 6 by 3. Oh, bury me not on the lone prairie. It matters not, so I've been told, where the body lies when the heart grows cold. Yet grant, oh grant this wish to me. Oh, bury me not on the lone prairie. Oh, bury me not. And his voice failed there, but they took no heed to his dying prayer. In a narrow grave just 6 by 3, they buried him there on the lone prairie. And the cowboys now, as they roam the plain, for they mark the spot where his bones were lain, fling a handful of roses o'er his grave, with a prayer to God his soul to save. I'll tell you a story that will thrill you, I know, of a horse I once owned a long time ago. You'll gaze at his picture with wondering eyes, and then at the arrow that hangs by his side. He was swift as an antelope and black as a crow, with a star on his forehead as white as the snow. His arched neck was covered with a dark flowing mane, and I called him Petonio, the pride of the plain. The country was new and the settlers were scarce. The Indians on warpath were savage and fierce. Though the scouts were sent out every day from the fort, yet they never returned, and we knew they were lost. One day the captain said someone must go across the dark borders of New Mexico. A dozen young fellas straightway answered here, but the captain spied me, I was standing right near. Petonio was by me, his nose in my hand. Said, Captain, your horse is the best in the land. You're good for the ride, you're my lightest man here, and on the back of that Mustang you'll have nothing to fear. Then proud of my pony, I answered, you know, Petonio and I are both willing to go. For speed and endurance I'll trust in my black. Then Oil shook my hand and I mounted his back. Turned down the dark pathway, turned his head to the right. The black struck a trot and he kept it all night. When far back behind me I heard a shrill wail, I knew that the Indians were hot on my trail. I jingled the bells at the end of his rein, spoke his name softly and stroked his dark mane. Petonio, he answered with a nod of his head, his dark body lengthened as faster we sped. We were leaving the Indians, the story was plain. The arrows fell round us like torrents of rain. Petonio, he stumbled, I knew he was hurt, but still he raced onward and into the fort. I delivered the message, then turned to dismount. but the pain in my foot was so bad I could not. The arrow you see hanging there on the wall had passed through my foot, saddle, stirrup, and all. With good care and patience, Pat and I were soon well. Of his death many years later I will not try to tell. Of all the fine horses I rode o'er the range, there was none like Petonio, the pride of the plains. From this valley they say you are going. I will miss your bright eyes and sweet smile, for they say you are taking that sunshine that has brightened our pathway a while. Come and sit by my side if you love me. Do not hasten to bid me adieu, but remember that Red River Valley and the cowboy that's loved you so true. For a long time, my dear, I've been waiting for the words that you never would say. And alas, my poor heart, you are breaking, for they tell me you are going away. Come and sit by my side if you love me. Do not hasten to bid me adieu, but remember that Red River Valley and the cowboy that's loved you so true. As you go to your home by the ocean, may you never forget those sweet hours that we spent in that Red River Valley, and the love we exchanged mid the flowers. Come and sit by my side if you love me. Do not hasten to bid me adieu, but remember that Red River Valley and the cowboy has loved you so true. Good morning, Captain. Good morning, Shine. You need another mule skinner on down your new old line. Yodelee, yodelee. I likes to work, I'm rolling all the time. I can cop my initials on the mules behind. Yodelee, yodelee. Hey, little water boy, bring that bucket round. If you don't like your job, then put that bucket down. Yodelee, yodelee. I'm an old mule skinner up Tennessee way. I can make mule listen or won't accept your pay. Yodelee, yodelee. Working on the good roads, $1.50 a day. My good gal's waiting on Saturday night just to draw my pay. I'm going to town, honey, what you want me to bring you back? 5 pounds of flour and a John B. Stetson hat. I smell your bread a-burning. Turn that damper around. If you ain't got a damper, then turn that bread around. I am a ray and a restless one. From the eastern shores of late I come to learn my books, to learn my trade. Some call me the rake and a rambling blade. I come here spending money free, spending money at balls and play. At last my money grew very low, and so to robbing I did go. I robbed old Nels, I do declare. I robbed him on St. James's Square. I robbed him of 5,000 pounds, dividing with my comrades round. But now I am condemned to die. Many a lady who for me cried, pretty Nellie weeps, tears down her hair. Lady left in dark despair. My father weeps and he makes his moans. My mother cries, oh my darling son. But all their tears can ne'er save me, nor keep me from the gallows tree. And when I'm gone and laid away, and a final funeral preached o'er my head, all around my grave play tunes of joy. Sing away goes the rake and the rambling boy. Once a jolly swagman camped by a billabong under the shade of a coolabah tree, and he sang as he watched and waited till his billy boy, you'll come a waltzing Matilda with me. Waltzing Matilda, waltzing Matilda, you'll come a waltzing Matilda with me. And he sang as he watched and waited till his billy boy, you'll come a waltzing Matilda with me. Down jumped a jumbuck, a drink at the billabong. Up jumped the swagman and grabbed him with glee, and he sang as he shoved that jumbuck in his tucker bag, you'll come a waltzing Matilda with me. Waltzing Matilda,
waltzing Matilda. You'll come a waltzing Matilda with me. And he sang as he shoved that jumbuck in his tucker bag. You'll come a waltzing Matilda with me. Up rode the squatter, mounted on his thoroughbred. Up rode the troopers, 1, 2, 3. Who's the jolly jumbuck you've got in your tucker bag? You'll come a waltzing Matilda with me. Waltzing Matilda, waltzing Matilda. You'll come a waltzing Matilda with me. Who's that jolly jumbuck you've got in your tucker bag? You'll come a waltzing Matilda with me. Up jumped the swagman, swang into that billabong. You'll never take me alive, said he, and his ghost may be heard as you pass by that billabong. You come a waltzing Matilda with me. Waltzing Matilda, waltzing Matilda. You'll come a waltzing Matilda with me, and his ghost may be heard as you pass by that billabong. You'll come a waltzing Matilda with me. You'll come a waltzing Matilda with me.
Well, he walks out in the arena, all dressed up to the brim. Said he just came down from a place called Highland Rim. He said he came to ride the horse, the one they called the Brute. But he didn't look like a cowboy in his continental suit. We snickered at the way he dressed, but he never said a word. He walked on by the rest of us as if he hadn't heard. $1,000 went to the man who could ride this wild cayuse. A meaner horse was never born than the one they call the Brute. The horse that he was looking for was in chute number 8. He walked up very slowly, put his hand upon the gate. We knew he was a thoroughbred when he pulled his sack of dukes from inside the pocket of his continental suit. Well, he rolled himself a Corley, and he lit it standing there. Blew himself a smoke ring, and he watched it disappear. We thought he must be crazy when he opened up that gate. Standing just inside was 1,500 pounds of hay. The buckskin tried to run him down, but the stranger was too quick. He stepped aside and threw his arms around the horse's neck. And he pulled himself up on the back of the horse they called the Brute. Sit like he was born there in his continental suit. The Brute's hind end was in the air and his front end on the ground, kicking and a-squealing, trying to shake this stranger down. But the stranger did not give an inch. He came to ride that Brute, and he came to ride the buckskin in his continental suit. Well, I turned around to look at Jim, and he was a-watching me. He said, I don't believe the crazy things I think I see, but I think I see the outlaw, the one they call the Brute, ridden by a cowboy in his continental suit. The Brute came to a standstill, ashamed that he'd been rode by a city cowboy in some continental clothes. Stranger took his money, and we don't know where he went. We don't know where he come from, and we haven't seen him since. The moral of this story, never judge by what they wear. Underneath some ragged clothes could be a millionaire. Everybody listen, don't be fooled by this galoot, this sure enough bronc buster in his continental suit.
walker runs down to the Carson Valley plain. There lived a maiden, Darcy Farrow was her name, the daughter of old Dundee, and a fair one was she. The sweetest flower that bloomed o'er the range. Her voice was as sweet as a sugar candy. The touch was as soft as a bed of goose down. Her eyes shone bright like the pretty lights that shine in the night out of Yarrington town. She was courted by young Vandermeer. A fine lad was he, as I am to hear. He gave her silver rings and lacy things. She promised to wed before the snows came that year. But her pony did stumble, and she did fall. The dying touched the hearts of us, one and all. Young Vandy, in his pain, put a bullet in his brain. We buried them together as the snows began to fall. They sing a Darcy Farrow where the Truckee runs through. They sing of a beauty in Virginia City too. At dusky sundown, to her Nate they drink around. And to young Vandy, whose love was true, where the walker runs down to the Carson Valley plain. There is a man you hear about most every place you go. His holdings are in Texas, and his name is Diamond Joe, and he carries all his money in a diamond-studded jar, and he never was much bother for the process of the law. I hired out to Diamond Joe, boys. I did offer him my hand, and he give me a string of horses so they could not stand. I like to starve to death, boys. He did mistreat me so, and I never saved a dollar in the pay of Diamond Joe. Now his bread it was corn dodger, the meat I couldn't chaw, and he drove me near destruction by the wagging of his jaw. By the telling of this story, I aim to let you know that there never was a rounder that lied like Diamond Joe. I tried 3 times to quit him, boys, but he did argue so, and I'm still punching cattle in the pay of Diamond Joe. And when I'm called up yonder and it comes my time to go, give my blankets to my buddies, Give the fleas to Diamond Joe. Give my blankets to my buddy. Give the fleas to Diamond Joe.
John Hardy was a desperate little man, carried 2 guns every day. He shot him a man on the West Virginia line. Oughta seen John Hardy getting away. Oughta seen John Hardy getting away. John Hardy got to the stone grid, thought it could be free. Up stepped a man and took him by the arm, saying, Johnny, come and walk along with me. Johnny, come and walk along with me. He sent for his poppy and his mommy too, come and go his bail. But money won't go for a murdering case, and they locked John Hardy back in jail. They locked John Hardy back in jail. John Hardy had him a pretty little girl. Dress she wore was blue. She came skipping through the old jail hall, saying, Poppy, I've been true to you. Poppy, I've been true to you. John Hardy had him another little girl. Dress she wore was red. She followed John Hardy to his hanging ground, saying, Poppy, I would rather be dead. Poppy, I would rather be dead. I've been to the east and I've been to the west, been this wide world around. I've been to the river and I've been baptized, and now I'm on my hanging ground. Now I'm on my hanging ground. John Hardy walked out on a scaffold high with his loving wife by his side, and the last words she heard poor Johnny say, I'll meet you in the sweet by and by. I'll meet you on the other side. John Hardy was a desperate little man, carried 2 guns every day. He shot him a man on the West Virginia line, and you oughta seen John Hardy getting away. You oughta seen John Hardy getting away.
Give me a home where the buffalo roam and the deer and the antelope play, where seldom is heard a discouraging word, and the skies are not cloudy all day. Home, home on the range, where the deer and the antelope play, where seldom is heard a discouraging word, and the skies are not cloudy all day. How often at night, where the heavens are bright with the light of the glittering stars, have I stood there amazed and asked as I gazed if the glory exceeds that of ours. Then give me a land where the bright diamond sand flows leisurely down to the stream, where the graceful white swan goes gliding along like a maid in a heavenly dream. Home, home on the range, where the deer and the antelope play, where seldom is heard a discouraging word, and the skies are not cloudy all day. Oh, I love these wildflowers in this dear land of ours, and the curlew I love to hear scream, and I love the white rocks and the antelope flocks that graze on the mountain tops green. Oh, I would not exchange my home on the range, where the deer and the antelope play, where seldom is heard a discouraging word, and the skies are not cloudy all day. Old home on the range, where the deer and the antelope play, where seldom is heard a discouraging word, and the skies are not cloudy all day. To the town of Agua Fria rode a stranger one fine day. Hardly spoke to folks around him, didn't have too much to say. No one dared to ask his business, no one dared to make a slip. The stranger there among them had a big iron on his hip. Big iron on his hip. It was early in the morning when he rode into the town. Came a-riding from the south side, slowly looking all around. He's an outlaw loose and running, came a whisper from each lip, and he's here to do some business with a big iron on his hip. Big iron on his hip. In this town there lived an outlaw by the name of Texas Red. Many men had tried to take him, and that many men were dead. He's a vicious and a killer, though a youth of 24, and the notches on his pistol numbered 1 in 19 more. 1 in 19 more. Now the stranger started talking, made it plain to folks around. Was an Arizona Ranger, wouldn't be too long in town. He's here to take an outlaw back alive or maybe dead, and he said it didn't matter, he was after Texas Red. After Texas Red. Wasn't long before the story was relayed to Texas Red, but the outlaw didn't worry, men that tried before were dead. 20 men had tried to take him, 20 men had made the slip, 21 would be the ranger with a big iron on his hip. Big iron on his hip. Now the morning passed so quickly, it was time for them to meet. It was 20 past 11 when they walked out in the street. Folks were watching from the windows, everybody held their breath. They knew this handsome ranger was about to meet his death. About to meet his death. There was 20 feet between them when they stopped to make their play. And the swiftness of the ranger still talked about today. Texas Red had not cleared leather, for a bullet fairly ripped, and the ranger's aim was deadly with a big iron on his hip. Big iron on his hip. It was over in a moment, and the folks had gathered round. There before them lay the body of the outlaw on the ground. Oh, he might have went on living, but he made one fatal slip when he tried to match the ranger with a big iron on his hip. Big iron on his hip. Big iron, big iron. When he tried to match that ranger with a big iron on his hip. Big iron on his hip.
When I was a lad, Dad had a mule. He was so devilish I couldn't ride him to school. He acted like he didn't have no sense. He put a saddle on his back, he'd jump a 10-foot fence. Dad's old mule, he couldn't put the saddle on. Dad's old mule, he couldn't put the saddle on. He wouldn't let you put it on. Couldn't put that saddle on. Dad's old mule, Dad's old mule. Well, Dad's old mule, his name was Pete. He had long ears and great big feet. He'd creep around like he was almost dead. You put a saddle on his back, you put a knot in your head. When I was young, way down south, I saw Dad's mule kick his pipe out of his mouth. I got in his way while I was out at play. He kicked me so hard I thought it was the Judgment Day. Dad's old mule, he couldn't put the saddle on. Dad's old mule, he couldn't put the saddle on. He wouldn't let you put it on. He couldn't put the saddle on. Dad's old mule, Dad's old mule. Well, Dad's mule was so poor, he was thin as a rail. The biggest thing about him was his head and his tail. You put a saddle on that old hound, he'd haul off and kick the stable down. He was so old he didn't have a tooth. That old mule, he was too uncouth. He kicked Dad so hard he turned black and blue. Just the wind from his foot gave Dad the flu. Dad's old mule, he couldn't put the saddle on. Dad's old mule, he couldn't put the saddle on. He wouldn't let you put it on. He couldn't put the saddle on. Dad's old mule, Dad's old mule. Whenever Dad wanted to have fun, he tried to ride that old son of a gun. That old mule would kick up so much dirt, all you could see was Dad's old red shirt. Dad's old mule was awful mean. He's the meanest old mule I ever seen. He kicked Dad so high one afternoon, I thought Dad was the man in the moon. Dad's old mule, he couldn't put the saddle on. Dad's old mule, couldn't put the saddle on. He wouldn't let you put it on. You couldn't put the saddle on. Dad's old mule, Dad's old mule. Well, Dad loved his mule, hair and hide. He kept him 40 years till the day he died. He lived so long till his head got bald. I thought that old devil wouldn't die at all. When Dad's mule laid down and died, he made a pair of boots out of that old hide. But his old hide was so hard and tough, Dad couldn't wear his boots to strut his stuff. Dad's old mule, he couldn't put the saddle on. Dad's old mule, he couldn't put the saddle on. Wouldn't let you put it on. He couldn't put the saddle on. Dad's old mule, Dad's old mule, Dad's old mule. Kind friends, I don't like stories, nor am I going to act a part around this campfire that ain't a truthful fact. So fill your pipes and listen, I'll tell you, let me see. I think it was in 50, from there till 63. You've all heard tell of Bridger, well, I used to ride with him. And many long days' journey I've had alongside Jim. And back in old Fort Reno a trapper used to dwell.
We called him Mad Jack Reynolds, and the scouts all knew him well. Now in the spring of '50, we camped on Powder River. We killed a calf of buffalo and we cooked a slice of liver. While eating quite contented, we heard 3 shots or 4. Put out the fires and listened, and we heard a dozen more. We all knew old Jack Reynolds had moved his straps up here. So catching up our rifles and hitching up our gear, we moved as quick as lightning, to save was our desire. Too late the painted heathens had set the house on fire. We turned our horses quickly and waded down the stream. And close beside the water I heard a muffled scream. And there amongst the bushes a little girl did lie. I picked her up and whispered, "I'll save you or I'll die." Oh, what a ride old Bridger had covered my retreat. At times a child would whisper in a voice so clear and sweet, "Dear Papa, God will take you to Mama up above. There's no one left to love me, there's no one left to love." That little girl was 13 and I was 22. Says, "I'll be your papa and I love you just as true." She nestled to my bosom, her hazel eyes so bright, looked up and made me happy through the close pursuit that night. A year had passed when Maggie, we called her Hazel Eyes, in truth was going to leave me, had come to say goodbye. Her uncle Mad Jack Reynolds, long since reported dead, had come to claim my angel, his brother's child, he said. What could I say? We parted, Mad Jack was growing old. I handed him a banknote and all I had in gold. They rode away at sunrise, I went a mile or two. In parting said, "We'll meet again, may God watch over you." Close nestled by a babbling brook, a little cabin stood. Oh, weary from a long day's scout, I saw it in the wood. The pleasant valley stretched below, the mountains towered above. 'Twas like some painted picture or a well-told tale of love. While drinking from my juggery and resting in the saddle, I heard a gentle rippling like the dipping of a paddle. And turning toward the water, a strange sight met my view. A pretty girl was seated in a little bark canoe. She stood up in the center, a rifle to her eye. I thought for just one moment that my time had come to die. So tipped my hat and told her, if it all was the same, to put up her little shooter as I was not her game. She dropped the deadly weapon and leaped from her canoe. Says she, "I beg your pardon, I thought you were a Sioux. Your long hair and your buckskins look warrior-like and rough. My bead was spoiled by sunlight, or I dropped you sure enough." "Well, perhaps it'd been better had you shot me then," says I. for surely such an angel could bear me to the sky. She blushed and dropped her eyelids, her face was crimson red. One shy glance that she gave me, then she hung down her head. And then her arms flew around me, I'll save you or I'll die. I clutched her to my bosom, my long-lost hazel eye. The rapture of that moment was heaven unto me. I kissed her then amid her tears, her merriment and glee. Her heart next mine was beating when sobbingly she said, my dear long-lost preserver, they told me you were dead. The man who claimed me from you, my uncle good and true, lies sick in yonder cabin, and he talks so much of you. If Joe was living, darling, he said to me last night, he'd care for you, dear Maggie, when God puts out my light. We found the old man sleeping, hush Maggie, let him rest. The sun was slowly sinking in the far-off golden west. Although we talked in whispers, he opened up his eyes. A dream, he murmured, alas, a dream of light. She drifted like a shadow to where the old man lay. You had a dream, dear uncle, another dream today. I dreamed I saw an angel as pure as drifted snow, and standing close beside her was California Joe. She said, I'm no angel, dear uncle, this you know. My hands are brown, my face is too, I'm never white as snow. But listen while I tell you, for I have news to cheer. Your hazel eye is happy, for truly Joe is here. Then but a few days later, the old man said to me, Joe boy, she is an angel, or as good as angels be. For 3 months she's hunted Joe, and she's nursed me too. And I believe she'll safe alone, my boy, with you. Then but a few days later, Maggie, my wife, and I went riding from that valley with tears all in our eyes. For there beside the cabin, within a new-made grave, we laid him 'neath the daisies, her uncle good and brave. Here after every gentle spring will surely find us there. At his graveside in the valley, we'll keep it fresh and fair. Our love was newly kindled while resting by the stream, and two hearts were united in love's sweet happy dream. And that is all my story, and this you ought to know, that Hazel Eye is happy with California Joe.
The festival was over and the boys were all planning for a fall. The cabaret was quiet, except for the drilling in the wall. The curfew had been lifted and the gambling wheel shut down. Anyone with any sense had already left town. He was standing in the doorway, looking like the Jack of Hearts. He moved across the mirrored room, set it up for everyone, he said.
Then everyone commenced to do what they were doing before he turned their head. Then he walked up to a stranger and he asked him with a grin, "Could you kindly tell me, friend, what time the show begins?" And he moved into the corner, face down like the Jack of Hearts. Backstage, the girls were playing 5 cards, stood by the stairs. Lilley had 2 queens, she was hoping for a third to match her pair. Outside, the streets was filling up, the window was open wide. A gentle breeze was blowing, you could feel it from inside. Lilley called another bet and drew up the Jack of Hearts. Well, Big Jim was no one's fool, he owned the town's only diamond mine. He made his usual entrance, looking so dandy and so fine. With his bodyguards and silver cane and every hair in place, he took whatever he wanted to and he laid it all to waste. But his bodyguards and silver cane were no match for the Jack of Hearts. Rosemary combed her hair and took a carriage into town. She slipped in through the side door, looking like a queen without a crown. She fluttered her false eyelashes and whispered in his ear, "Sorry, darling, that I'm late," but he didn't seem to hear. He was staring into space over at the Jack of Hearts. I know I've seen that face somewhere, Big Jim was a-thinking to himself. Maybe down in Mexico or a picture up on somebody's shelf. Then the crowd began to stamp their feet and the house lights did dim. And in the darkness of the room there was only Jim and him, staring at the butterfly who just drew the Jack of Hearts. Lilley was a princess, she was fair-skinned and precious as a child. She did whatever she had to do, she had that certain flash every time she smiled. She had come away from a broken home, had lots of strange affairs, with men in every walk of life that took her everywhere. But she never met anyone quite like the Jack of Hearts. Hanging judge came in, a notice and was being wined and dined. The drilling in the wall kept up, but no one seemed to pay it any mind. It was known all around that Lilley had Jim's ring, and nothing had ever come between Lilley and her king. No, nothing ever would, except maybe the Jack of Hearts. Rosemary started drinking hard, seeing her reflection in the knives. She was tired of the attention, tired of playing the role of Big Jim's wife. She had done a lot of bad things, even once tried suicide. Was looking to do just one good deed before she died. She was gazing to the future, riding on the Jack of Hearts. Lilley took her dress off, buried it away. As your luck ran out, she laughed at him. Well, I guess she must have known it would someday. Be careful not to touch the wall, there's a brand new coat of paint. I'm glad to see you're still alive, you're looking like a saint. Down the hallway, footsteps coming for the Jack of Hearts. backstage manager was pacing all around by his chair. There's something funny going on, he said, I can just feel it in the air. He went to get the hanging judge, but the hanging judge was drunk as a leading actor hurried by in the costume of a monk. There was no actor anywhere better than the Jack of Hearts. Well, no one knew the circumstance, but they say that it happened pretty quick. The door to the dressing room burst open and a Colt revolver clicked. And Big Jim was standing there, you couldn't say surprised. Rosemary right beside him, steady in her eyes. She was with Big Jim, but she was leaning to the Jack of Hearts. 2 doors down, and the boys finally made it through the wall. And they cleaned out the bank safe, it said they got off with quite a haul. In the darkness by the riverbed, they waited on the ground for one more member who had business back in town. But they couldn't go no further without the Jack of Hearts. The next day was hanging day, the sky was overcast and black. Big Jim lay covered up, killed by a penknife in the back. Rosemary on the gallows, she didn't even blink. The hanging judge was sober, he hadn't had a drink. The only person on the scene missing was the Jack of Hearts. The cabaret was quiet now, sign said closed for repair. Lilley had already taken all of the dye out of her hair. She was thinking about her father whom she very rarely saw. Thinking about Rosemary, she was thinking about the law. But most of all, she was thinking about the Jack of Hearts. But most of all, she was thinking about the Jack of Hearts. Little Joe the Wrangler, he'll wrangle nevermore. His days with the remuda, they're all done. It was long about last April when he rode into our camp, just a little Texas straying all alone. It was late in the evening when he rode into our camp, on a little old brown pony he called Shaw. In his brogan shoes and coveralls and a harder looking kid you never in your life have seen before. His saddle was a southern knack built many years ago, an OK spur on one foot idly hung, with his bedroll in a cotton sack and loosely tied behind, and a canteen from the saddle horn he'd slung. He said he'd try to do the best, we'd only give him work, though we didn't know straight up about a cow. So the boss, he cut him out a mount and kindly put him on, and we knew he liked our little stray somehow. Well, he taught him how to herd the horses and learned to know 'em all, and he got 'em to the daybreak if he could, and to follow the chuck wagon, and to always hitch the team, and to help the Cosinera rustle wood. We had driven to Red River, and the weather it was fine. We were camped down at the south side of the bend. when the northers started blowing, and we called the extra guard, 'cause it took all hands to hold the cattle in. Now little Joe the wrangler, he was called out like the rest. Barely had the kid got to the herd, when the cattle they stampeded, like a hailstorm on they flew, with all of us riding for the lead. Between the streaks of lightning we could see a horse ahead. It was little Joe the wrangler in the lead. He was riding old Blue Rocket with a slicker o'er his head. He's trying to check the leaders in their speed. We finally got 'em milling, and they sort of quieted down. The extra guard back to the wagon road. But one of them was missing, and we all knew at a glance 'twas a little Texas stray, poor Wrangler Joe. We found him there at sunup where the old Blue Rocket fell, in some washout 20 feet below. Beneath his horse smashed to a pulp, his spur had rung the knell. 'Twas a little Texas stray, poor Wrangler Joe. Now little Joe the wrangler, he will wrangle nevermore. His days with the Remuda are all o'er. It was a year ago last April when he rode into our camp, just a little Texas straying all alone. A lonely spot I know where no man will go. The shadows have all the room. I was riding free on the old SP, humming the southern tune, when a man come along, made me hush my song, kicked me off away out there. Set down my load in that desert road, arrested my weary leg. I watched the setting sun make the tall shadows run out across a barren plain. Then I hummed a tune to the rising moon. She gets lonesome way out there. Myself in a dream. I dreamed the desert sand was a milk and honey land. Then I awoke to the stars. There's a train coming back on that one-way track, gonna carry me away from here. She passed me by, I caught her on the fly, climbed in
Wildcat Kelly's looking mighty pale, was standing by the sheriff's side. And when the sheriff said, I'm sending you to jail, Wildcat hung his head and cried. Oh, give me land, lots of land under starry skies above. Don't fence me in. Let me ride through the wild open country that I love. Don't fence me in. Let me be by myself in the evening breeze. Listen to the murmur of the cottonwood trees. Send me off forever, but I ask you please, don't fence me in. To turn me loose, let me straddle my old saddle underneath the western sky. On my cayuse, let me wander over yonder till I see the mountains rise. I want to ride to the ridge where the west commences, gaze at the moon till I lose my senses. I can't look at hobbles and I can't stand fences. Don't fence me in. Oh, give me land, lots of land under starry skies above. Don't fence me in. Let me ride through the wild open country that I love. Don't fence me in. Let me be by myself in the evening breeze. Listen to the murmur of the cottonwood trees. Send me off to Rever, but I ask you please, don't fence me in. Don't fence me in. Don't fence me in. As I was a-walking one morning for pleasure, I spied a cowpuncher a-loping along. His hat was throwed back and his spurs was a-jingling, and as he approached he was a-singing this song. Whoopi Ti Yi Yo, get along, little doggies, it's your misfortune and none of my own. Whoopi Ti Yi Yo, get along, little doggies, know that Wyoming will be your new home. It's early in spring that we round up the doggies, mark them and brand them and bob off their tail. Round up the horses, load up the chuck wagon, and then throw the doggies up on that long trail. Whoopi Ti Yi Yo, get along, little doggies, it's your misfortune and none of my own. Whoopi Ti Yi Yo, get along, little doggies, you know that Wyoming will be your new home. Your mother was raised way down in Texas, where the Jimson weed and the sandburrs do grow. Now we'll fill you up on prickly pear and cholla till you are all ready for the Idaho Trail. Whoopi Ti Yi Yo, get along, little doggies, your misfortune and none of my own. Whoopi Ti Yi Yo, get along, little doggies, you know that Wyoming will be your new home. Whoopi Ti Yi Yo, get along, little doggies, it's your misfortune and none of my own. Whoopi Ti Yi Yo, get along, little doggies, you know that Wyoming will be your new home. Know that Wyoming will be your new home. A band of jolly cowboys were expressing plans of ease. One said, I'll tell you something, boys, if you will listen, please.
I'm an old cowpuncher and a year-round dressed in rags. I used to be a rough one, boys, and I'd pick the risky jags. Yes, I've got a home, boys, and a good one you should know. But, boys, I haven't seen it since the fall of long ago. I'm going back to Dixie, and I expect to see them all. I'm going home to mother when the work's all done this fall. When I left my home, boys, my mother for me cried. She begged me not to leave her, for me she would have died. Her poor old heart was breaking for me, that's all. But with God's help I'll see her when the work's all done this fall. That very night old Charlie would have to stand his guard. The night was dark and cloudy and the storm was very hard. Then cattle all got frightened and they ran in a wild stampede. He tried his best to turn the herd while riding at full speed. He was riding through the darkness as loudly he did shout, trying his best to head the leaders to turn the herd about. Then a saddle horse did stumble, and upon him it did fall. Charlie won't see mother, boys, when the work's all done this fall. Jack, you may have my pistols, and Bill, you can have my bed. Jim, you can have my saddle after I am dead. Please ride my mother gently and tell her of my fall, for I'll not see my mother, boys, when the work's all done this fall. Charlie died at daybreak, no tombstone at his head. There's nothing but a wooden slab, and this is what it said. Charlie died at sunrise, he died from a fall. He's headed for that better range, he's heard his master's call. How hard is the fortune of all womankind? They're always controlled and they're always confined, controlled by their parents until they are wives, then slaves to the husbands for the rest of their lives. I am a poor girl, my fortune is sad. I've always been courted by the wagoner's lad. He courted me daily, by night and by day. Now his wagon is loaded and a-going away. Your parents don't like me because I am poor. They say I'm not worthy of entering your door. I work for my living, my money's my own. And if they don't like me, they can leave me alone. Your horses are hungry, go feed them some hay. Come sit down by me as long as you stay. My horses ain't hungry, they won't eat your hay. So fare you well, darling, and I'll be on my way. Your wagon needs greasing, your whip is to mend. Come sit down near by me as long as you can. My wagon is greasy and the whip's in my hand. So fare you well, darling, no longer to stand. How hard is the fortune of all womankind. They're always controlled and they're always confined. Controlled by their parents until they are wise. Then slaves to the husbands for the rest of their life. There's an old rusty wagon that's left to rot away. It's the one the family rode in back in the good old days. People all loved their neighbors, everybody was so free. Riding in the brand new wagon was something to see. I can see my daddy sitting up on the wagon seat. Mom in her new sunbonnet, she looks so nice and neat. Kids are all in the wagon, Grandma and Grandpa too. Oh, we used to go to church on Sunday when the wagon was new. Red wheels were on the wagon and the body it was green. We was all so happy as riding in a limousine. People used to gather round through all the mountainside, take a look at the brand new wagon and all take a ride. I can see my daddy sitting up on the wagon seat. Mom in her new sunbonnet, she looks so nice and neat. Kids are all in the wagon, Grandma and Grandpa too. Oh, we used to go to church on Sunday when the wagon was new. Well, the automobiles are here now and the wagon days are through. Airplanes are a-humming, good neighbors are so few. Everybody's in a hurry, it's a money that takes you through. But we didn't need much money when the wagon was new. I can see my daddy sitting up on the wagon seat. Mom in her new sunbonnet, she looks so nice and neat. Kids are all in the wagon, Grandma and Grandpa too. Oh, we used to go to church on Sunday when the wagon was new. Oh, we used to go to church on Sunday when the wagon was new. Oh, Shenandoah, I long to hear you. Away, your rolling river. Oh, Shenandoah, I long to hear you. Away, I'm bound away, cross that wide Missouri. The old Missouri, she's a mighty water. Away, your rolling river. The Indians camp along her borders. Away, I'm bound away,
across that wide Missouri. A white man loved the Indian maiden away a rolling river. With notions his canoe was laden. Away, I'm bound away, across that wide Missouri. Oh, Shenandoah, I love your daughter. Away, a rolling river. I'll take her across yon rolling water. Away, I'm bound away, across that wide Missouri. Oh, Shenandoah, I'm bound to leave you. Away, a rolling river. Oh, Shenandoah, I'll not deceive you. Away, I'm bound away, across that wide Missouri. Oh, Shenandoah, I long to hear you. Away, you rolling river. Oh, Shenandoah, I long to hear you. Away, I'm bound away, across that wide Missouri. In 1841 I put my corduroy breeches on. I put my corduroy breeches on to work upon the railway. Huddly-ooly-ooly-ay, 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 to work upon the railway. In 1842 I left the old world for the new. I left the old world for the new, to work upon the railway. Huddly-ooly-ooly-ay, 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 to work upon the railway. In 1843, 'twas then I met sweet Molly McGee, an elegant wife she's been to me while working on the railway. Huddly-ooly-ooly-ay, 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 to work upon the railway. In 1844, I travelled the land from shore to shore. I travelled the land from shore to shore to work upon the railway. Huddly-ooly-ooly-ay, 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 to work upon the railway. In 1845 I found myself more dead than alive. I found myself more dead than alive from working on the railway. Huddly-ooly-ooly-ay, 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 from working on the railway. In 1846 was dragging my back from carrying bricks and hammers and nails and shovels and picks to work upon the railway. Huddly-ooly-ooly-ay, 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 from working on the railway. In 1847, sweet Molly McGee, she went to heaven. She left from child, she left 11 to work upon the railway. Huddly-ooly-ooly-ay, 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 from working on the railway. In 1848, my hands did blister, my belly did ache. We heard of gold and made a stake while working on the railway. Huddly-ooly-ooly-ay, 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 to work upon the railway. In 1849, the California hills was looking fine. We found some gold and left behind the working of the railway. Huddly-ooly-ooly-ay, 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 the workings of the railway.
Up in northern Arizona, there's a range or trail that passes through a mesa like a fairy lake with pines upon its brink. And across the trail a stream runs, all but hidden in the grasses, till it finds an emerald hollow where the ponies come to drink. Out they fling across the mesa, wind-blown manes and forelocks dancing, blacks and sorrels, bays and pintos, wild as eagles, eyes agleam. From their hooves the silver flashes, burning beads and arrows glancing through the bunch grass and the grama as they cross the little stream. Down they swing as if pretending, in their orderly disorder, that they stop to hold a powwow just to rally for the charge. That will take 'em close to sunset, 20 miles across the border. Then the leader sniffs and drinks with 4 feet planted on the marge. One by one each head is lowered till some yearling nips another, and the playful interruption starts an eddy in the band. Snorting, squealing, plunging, wheeling, round they circle in a smother of the muddy spray, nor pause until they find the firmer land. My old cow horse, he runs with him. Turned him loose for good last season. 18 years. Hard work, his record. And he's earned a little rest. And he's taken it by playing, acting proud, with good reason. Though he starched a little forward, he can fan it with the best. Once I called him, almost caught him, when he heard my spur chains jingle. Then he eyed me some reproachful, as if making up his mind, seemed to say, well, if I have to, but you know I'm living single. So I laughed. In just a minute, he was pretty hard to find. Some folks wouldn't understand it, writing lines about a pony. For a cow horse is a cow horse, nothing else, most people think. But for 18 years, your partner, wise and faithful, such a crony, seems worth watching for a spell, down where the ponies come to drink. I rode across the valley range I hadn't seen for years. The trail was all so spoilt and strange, it nearly fetched the tears. I had to let 10 fences down, the fussy lanes ran wrong, and each new line would make me frown, hum a morning song. Oh, it's squeak, 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 hear 'em stretchin' of the wire. The Nestor brand is on the land, I reckon I'll retire. While progress toots her brassy horn and makes her motor buzz, I thank the Lord I wasn't born no later than I was. 'Twas good to live when all was sod, without no fence nor fuss. Belonged in partnership to God, the government and us, with skyline bounds from east to west, room to go and come. I loved my fellow man the best when he was scattered some. Oh, it squeak, 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 close and closer cramps the wire. There's hardly play to back away and call a man a liar. Their house has locks on every door and their land is in a crate. These ain't the plains of God no more, they're only real estate. There's land where yet no ditchers dig, nor cranks experiment. It's only lovely, free and big, and isn't worth a cent. I pray that them who come to spoil may wait till I am dead before they foul that blessed soil with fence and cabbage head. Yet it's squeak, 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 far and farther crawls the wire. To crowd and pinch another inch is all their hearts desire. The world is overstocked with men, and some will see the day when each must keep his little pen, but I'll be far away. When my old soul hunts range and rests beyond the last divide, just plant me in some stretch of west that's sunny, lone, and wide. Let cattle rub my tombstone down and coyotes mourn their kin. Let hosses paw and tromp the mound, but don't you fence it in. Oh, it's squeak, 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 and they pen the land with wire. They figure fence, copper cents, where we laughed round the fire. Job cussed his birthday, night and morn, in his old land of Uz. But I'm just glad I wasn't born no later than I was. When They Finish Shipping Cattle in the Fall, by Bruce Kiskadden. Though you're not exactly blue, yet you don't feel like you do in the winter or the long hot summer days. For your feelings and the weather seem to sort of go together, and you're quiet in the dreamy autumn haze. When the last big steer is goaded down the chute and safely loaded, and the summer crew has ceased to hit the ball. When a fellow starts a draggin' to the home ranch with the wagon, when they've finished shipping cattle in the fall. Only 2 men left a-standin' on the job for winter brandin', and your partner he's a-loafin' by your side, with a brand-new saddle creakin', but you never hear him speakin', and you feel it's gonna be a quiet ride. But you savvy one another, for you know him like a brother. He is friendly, but he's quiet, that is all. For he's thinkin' while he's draggin' to the home ranch with the wagon, when they finish shippin' cattle in the fall. And the saddle hosses stringin' at an easy walk a-swingin', in behind the old chuck wagon movin' slow. They are weary, gaunt, and jaded with the mud and brush they've waded, and they've settled down to business long ago. Not a hoss is feelin' sporty, not a hoss is actin' snorty. In the spring the brutes were full of buck and ball, but they're gentle when they're draggin' to the home ranch with the wagon, when they finish shippin' cattle in the fall. And the cook leads the retreat, perched high upon his wagon seat, with his hat pulled way down furrowed on his head. Used to make that old team hustle, now he hardly moves a muscle, and a feller might imagine he was dead. 'Cept his old cob pipe is smokin', and he lets his team go pokin', hittin' all the humps and hollers in the road. No, the cook has not been drinkin', he's just settin' there and thinkin' 'bout the places and the people that he knowed. And you watch the dust a-trailin', and 2 little clouds a-sailin', and a big mirage like lakes and timber tall. And you're lonesome when you're draggin' to the home ranch with the wagon, when they finish shippin' cattle in the fall. When you make the camp that night, though the fire is burning bright, yet nobody seems to have a lot to say. In the spring you sung and hollered, now you get your supper swallered, and you crawl into your blankets right away. Then you watch the stars a-shinin' up there in the soft blue linin', and you sniff the frosty night air clear and cool. You can hear the night hawse shiftin' as your memory starts driftin' to the little village where you went to school, with its narrow gravel streets and the kids you used to meet, and the common where you used to play baseball. Now you're far away and draggin' to the home ranch with the wagon, for they've finished shippin' cattle in the fall. And your schoolboy sweetheart, too, with her eyes of honest blue, best performer in the old home talent show. You were nothin' but a kid, but you liked her, sure you did, Lord, that was over 30 years ago. Then your memory starts to roam, from old Mexico to Nome, from the Rio Grande to the Powder River, of the things you've seen and done. Some of them was lots of fun, and a lot of other things they make you shiver. 'Bout that boy by name of Reed that was killed in a stampede. 'Twas away up north you helped him dig his grave. And your old friend Jim the boss that got tangled with a hoss, and the fellers couldn't reach in time to save. You was there when Ed got his'n, boy that killed him still in prison, and old Lucky George he's rich and livin' high. Poor old Tom, he come off worst, got his leg broke, died of thirst. Oh, but that must have been an awful way to die. Then them winters at the ranches and the old-time country dances, everybody there was sociable and gay. Used to lead 'em down the middle, just a-prancin' to the fiddle. Never thought of going home till the break of day. No, there ain't no chance for sleepin', for the memories come a-creepin',
And sometimes you think you hear the voices call when a feller starts a draggin' to the home ranch with the wagon when they finished shipping cattle in the fall.
I was lying around town just spending my time, out of a job and not making a dime. Up steps a feller and says, I suppose you're a bronc rider by the looks of your clothes. He guesses me right, and a good one, I'll claim. You happen to have any bad ones to tame? He says he's got one that's a good one to buck, and throwing good riders, he's had lots of luck. He says this old pony has never been rode, and the man that gets on him is bound to be throwed. I gets all excited. I ask what he pays to ride this old pony a couple of days. He says $10. I says, I'm your man. The bronc never lived that I couldn't fan. Nah, the bronc never tried nor drew breath that I cannot ride till he starved plumb to death. He says, get your saddle. I'll give you a chance. We got in the buckboard and rode off to the ranch. We waited till morning, and right after Chuck, I went out to see if that outlaw could buck. Down in the corral, standing alone, was this little old caballo, a strawberry roan. He had little pin ears that touched at the tip. Big 44 brand that was on his left hip. He was spavined all around, had pigeon toes, like pig eyes and a big Roman nose. He was ewe-necked, old, long, lower jaw. You could tell at a glance he was a regular outlaw. I bucked on my spurs. I was feeling plumb fine. I pulled down my hat, curls up my twine. I threw a loop at him. Right well I knew then, before I'd rode him, I'd sure earned my 10. I got the blind on him with a terrible fight, cinched on the saddle and girded it tight. Then I steps up on him and pulled down the blind and sat there in the middle to see him unwind. He bowed his old neck, and I'll say he unwound. He seemed to quit living right there down on the ground. He went up to the east and came down to the west, with me in the middle, doing my best. He sure was frog-walking. I heaved a big sigh. He only lacked wings for to be on the fly. He turned his old belly right up to the sun. He was a sun-fishing son of a gun. He was the worst bronco I've seen on the range. He could turn on a nickel and leave you some change. While he was a bucking, he squalled like a shoat. I tell you, that outlaw, he sure got my goat. I tell all the people that pony could step, and I was still on him, building a rep. He came down on all fours and turned up on his side. I don't see how he kept from losing his ride. I lost my stirrups. I lost my hat. I was pulling at leather, blind as a bat. With a phenomenal jump, he made a high dive and set me a-winding up there through the sky. I turned 40 flips and came down to the earth. I sit there a-cursing the day of his birth. I know there's some ponies that I cannot ride, some of them living that haven't all died. But I'll bet money there's no man alive that can ride old Strawberry when he makes that high dive.
What does reincarnation mean? A cowpoke asked his friend. His pal replied, it happens when your life has reached an end. They comb your hair and wash your neck and clean your fingernails and lay you in that padded box away from life's travails. The box in you goes in a hole that's been dug in the ground.
Reincarnation starts in when you're planted 'neath that mound. Them clods melt down just like your box, and you who is inside, and then you're just beginning on your transformation ride. In a while some grass'll grow upon your rendered mound, till some day on your mouldered grave a lonely flower is found. And say a horse should wander by and graze upon this flower, that once was you, but now become your vegetative bower. That posy that the hoss done ate up, with his other feed, makes bone and fat and muscle essential to the steed. But some is left that he can't use, and so it passes through, and finally lays upon the ground this thing that once